Number 6, use the function from item 3 to create graphs to represent each of the girls' total number of followers over the first 8 months. Label at least 3 points on each graph. All right, so we're going to obviously start with Gina's followers. Obviously, across the bottom, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? Now, so we're going to type her equation in. I'm going to kind of show you here. We're going to do y equals, clear out whatever's in there. Her function was, sorry, 5x plus 31.75. I'm going to go ahead and type in the others as well while I'm in this screen, and we're just going to turn the equations off. 1.136 parentheses 1.964 raised to the x power. And the last one was negative 2.048 x squared plus 0.929x minus 0.714. So I typed all 3 of those equations in. And if you go all the way over here to the equal sign, if you press enter, it'll turn the other graphs off for you. Okay? So I don't want the other graphs on just yet. I just want to look at Y1. So I'm going to change my window. So I'm going to go to Window. I don't care to see anything on the left side of the the y-axis. So I'm going to go from 0 to 10 on my x's, counting by ones. I don't care to see anything below 0 on my x-axis. And we're going to go, obviously, just looking at the data itself, my y's at least go up to 72 here. So we'll go up to 75, counting by 5s. Okay? Oh, we'll go 80, counting by 10s. Make sure I have enough space on my graph whenever I transfer over as well. And graph that. Sorry. Trying to get it all in the same screen for us. Okay. So it looks like we have a straight line here, which we predicted it was linear. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to find some values on this graph. So I want you to go to where it says trace, hit the key. And so what it says is that approximately 5, the y value is 56.75. So we need to count by 10s on here. 10, so it's 20. This would be 30. We're going to go 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and up here would be 100, okay? So at approximately 5, we're at about 56. So 5, about 56. So somewhere right around there, right? Okay, let's find another value. Let's find a value at 0. 0 is approximately 31. So right about there. Okay, let's find 8. 8 is approximately 71.75. Right about there. Okay, and this is a straight line, so I'm going to use my straight edge here and connect those dots. Like so. And we're going to label this as number of months. And this would obviously be the number of followers. All right. I'm going to put this off to the side real quick. All right. Now we're going to do Cheyenne's Cheyenne's data. Now we expect this one to be exponential. So we're going to go over here to y equals, and I'm going to turn off y1 and turn on y2 because that's Cheyenne's data. Okay. Now remember, if you recall back to Cheyenne, her data went from 2 all the way to 251. So we need to cover that in my data set. Okay. So we know that the bottom is going to count by 2. So we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. So my my X, max, and min are fine because I need to cover 1 to 10. Okay. But I need to cover on my y-axis, we have to cover from 0 all the way up to about 250. So we'll go 250, and we'll count by 25s here. So it'd be like 25, 50, 75, 1, so on. Okay. Now the top dot might be off a little bit because it's 251. So it'll just slightly be above my graph. That'll be just fine. Okay. So we're going to go counting by 25s. You obviously want to mimic the Y scale to kind of fit your data without doing too much. And we're going to graph that. And it's going to graph on my screen, but as it's doing that, I'm going to go, this is 25, so this is 50, so it's 75. There's 100, 150, 200, that's going to be 250, all the way up to 300 on my screen, actually. All right, and if you see, we've got this nice little curve here. This is our exponential function. It's got that doubling pattern each month, okay? I need to put a couple of dots on here. So we'll actually do the same ones. We did 0, 4, and 8 on the other one. Oops. There it is. So we'll do the same 3 points on this one, okay? So I want to know where my value is traced-wise at 0. Oh, no, we did 0, 5, and 8. You're right. Zero is approximately 1.136, way down there. Okay, so I'm going to plot it. It's almost basically at 0, 0. Okay, then we're going to trace at 5. So press 5 and enter. Approximately 33. And then we're going to trace at 8. And it's actually probably going to, it says the value of 8 is 251. So it's right above our 250 here. So it's got this curve going. Notice I didn't use a ruler because that's pointless. Because it's not a straight line. It's actually a curve. And I might have wanted to do more along this line so I could have gotten that curve a little bit more accurate. So actually, it's accurate probably up to this point, but after you get to this point, this is probably my least accurate. So let me actually... I'm going to put a few more points on there just to make sure that my curvature is pretty close. 2 was at approximately 4. So it's probably along the lines here. I'm probably good for here. It's after that I'm a little worried about. 6 was at 65. 7 was at 125. Or no, it was actually 128, I think. Yep. 128. Okay, I was kind of accurate. It just looked very odd to me. So again, these are my number of months. And these are my number of followers. All right. Lastly, we're going to do Kim's data. All right. So that means I'm no longer going to be looking at my Y2 function. I'm now looking at Y3. So I'm changing my function. And remember that Kim's data went from 16 up to 43 and then down to 20. So whenever I go to do her window, I'm going to keep that in mind. So we're going to do window. I'm going to go 0 to 10 on my X. But my Y needs to go from 0. And we need to go up to about 45 and then come back down. So we'll go 0 to 50 and count by 5s. Okay? Because hers is going to go up and then come back down. It's going to have like this U effect, but kind of upside down, honestly. And then we're going to graph that. So while that's graphing, I'm going to set up my table. I'm at my chart, sorry. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8. And on this, we're counting by 5s. We're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40. Every other line represents 10. Notice it kind of goes up, comes back down. So let's trace out a couple of points to kind of get the most accurate data here. Sorry. Go to graph. Trace. I forgot to press that key. Trace at 1. 1 is approximately 16. So 1 is approximately 16. Well, we know that this is 10. This is 15. At 2, we've got about 28.9. So 29. So it's actually going to be right under 30. Okay, at 3, we've got approximately 37.6. At 4, we've got 42.2. At 5, we've got, that same, this is 42.7. So a little bit higher up. At 6, we're starting to come down. It's at 39. At 7, we're at 31.4. At 8, we're at 19.6. And I forgot to do at 0. 0 was right below the axis. So it's going to kind of look like. Notice I put more dots on here to give myself a more accurate picture. And let's go ahead and do 9. It's at approximately 3.7. So I could get the most accurate kind of shape here. Again, number of months, number of followers. All right. Describe the similarities and differences between the reasonable domains and ranges of each of the functions represented by these graphs. Well, let's talk about Gina's graph first. Her domain is going to be x greater than or equal to 0 because we're talking about time of months, and we started this at 0 months and moved forward. So her domain is y is greater than or equal to 0. These are the number of months. What do you think about Cheyenne's graph and her domain? Her domain would also be x greater than or equal to 0 because we're talking about the number of months. And of Kim's data, it is also going to be x greater than or equal to 0 because we're dealing with the number of months. Let's talk about their ranges. Their ranges are not all of the same. With Gina's followers, her followers have to be greater than or equal to 0 because we're dealing with people here. Cheyenne's has to be greater than or equal to 0 because, again, we are dealing with people. But we have a slight restriction on Kim. Kim hits a maximum and goes back down. So we're going to actually say that Kim's has to be between 0 and 43 because that was the maximum number of people that she had. B. Identify the maximum values, if they exist, of each of the functions represented by the graphs. Well, Cheyenne's data and Jenna's data did not have maxes. They kept going. So Jenna's none exist. The same for Cheyenne. None exist. However, with Kim, we do have a max. Her max value is 43 people. That's that point where it did that little curve for us. Go ahead and get this copied down. There is a slight debriefing question. Don't forget to mark this presentation as done.